I have bought a lot of books over the last couple of months, so I thought I would do a little book haul of everything that I bought. First up is Ali Hazelwood Deep End. This is Ali Hazelwood's first college romance. It's between a swimmer and a diver. I'm really interested in this one because I love all of Ali Hazelwood's books. I think I've read them all. They're all here, except for Check-In Mate, because I'm trying to spread out all of her books. So this one is a college romance between a swimmer and a diver. I used to be a very competitive swimmer, so I'm interested to see how this one goes. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews, so I'm a little bit skeptical, but I like Ali Hazelwood's writing, so we'll see. I'm not gonna lie, I always buy a lot of books based on their covers, and this one is no different. This is First Time Caller by B.K. Morison. I think she's known more generally for her Love Light Farms trilogy. I haven't read any of those books in that series, but I love this one because of the foil cover of the words. And I heard this one's kind of like loosely inspired by A Sleepless in Seattle. I haven't watched that movie, so I want to watch it after I read this book. This one is about Aiden and Lucy. Aiden is the host of a radio show, and it's all about helping people find love and romance and navigating through their relationships. And Lucy is a single mother. Her daughter calls into the show and she's trying to help her mum find some romance. The phone call goes viral, so Lucy ends up being a co-host, so Aiden can help Lucy find a new relationship. So I'm really excited because I just love anything like pink and anything with foil like on the cover. You sold me. So I'm really excited to read this one. In keeping with the theme of anything foiled, I bought The Strawberry Patch Pancake House, that's a mouthful, by Laurie Gilmore. And this is part of the series. What's the series called? I can't remember. There's another one coming out, The Gingerbread Bakery. I didn't know that. I thought this was the last book in the series. I just love all of the covers in this series. So these are all the covers in the series, and I love them because I think they're so cute. So this one is about, it's like the single dad trope. He didn't realize he had a daughter until recently. He's moved to Dream Harbor, and it gives very much like Gilmore Girls vibes, very similar to Stars Hollow. Every time I read one of these books, it makes me want to rewatch the Gilmore Girls. And if you like small town romance, you would like this series. I'm sure everyone has this book, but it is Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life. I have the other Emily Henry books on my shelf. I think I've read them all except for Book Lovers, which I'm planning to read with my friend. So this is Emily Henry's newest book. It's about two authors, and they have to try and, I guess, audition for like a bibliography of this famous woman called Margaret. Some people have said it's kind of similar to Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, where the writer is writing about a very famous woman and her backstory. But I think this one is more focused on the writing aspect of that famous person rather than like the famous person and their background of why they're famous and getting that insight. So in that respect, it kind of reminds me of Beach Read, because Beach Read's about two writers. So I'm interested to see how this one will go. And I just love the covers, so cute. If you watched my previous video about the books I want to read in 2025, this was on there, Beg, Borrow and Steal by Sarah Adams. This is the last book in the trilogy for, I think, the When in Rome series, and it follows the sister of the male main character in the When in Rome series. It's like opposites attract, small town romance. You already got me from small town romance, so I'm really excited to read this. And it's a pink cover. I think I actually like historical fiction or like fiction books. So I got this one, Lessons in Chemistry, because I saw this one's really popular by Bonnie Garmis, and it's so popular in fact that they made it a TV series with Brie Larson, and it talks about women in the 60s. I think the female main character was forced to resign. She's a scientist, and she ends up having her own cooking show and showing that what women had to deal with in the 1960s and types of things she had to overcome, and she was very inspiring to other housewives in the era. So I thought that would be really cool to read this book first and then watch the TV show and see what the comparisons and differences are, because I love that books are becoming so popular or well loved that become TV shows or series. I also bought this book based on the cover, and it's called Summer in the City. I didn't realize Alex Aster is the author for the Lyla series, the fantasy series, and I thought it's so cool that she's jumping in between genres, because I think that one's more fantasy romance and this is just like more contemporary romance. The Lyla series was on my TBR as well, so it'd be interesting to see her writing between the two genres, and I think it's so cool that authors can do stuff outside their genre and still be really well liked. Oh my god, Ali Hazelwood did like a little review on the front. Pure steamy fun. Wow, for Ali Hazelwood to say it's steamy must be pretty steamy. I haven't really read too many books based on New York City, but I think I like the setting a lot. So I'm more of a setting, atmospheric type gal when it comes to reading. So I like to be transported to another city. So this could be really cool. Another book from a series is Wild and Wrangled by Layla Sage. This is the last book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and I love the covers of these books so much. Another series I love the covers of. Wait, they just look so cool. I wish I could draw like this. Small town romance. It's a cowboy romance, and every time I read it, I'm like, I want to be a cowboy. Cowgirl? Because I started reading this series, but I feel like this one is easier to get into just because the writing is a bit more simpler and the text is really big. It's quite short, so I feel like if you're trying to get into cowboy romance, small town vibes, like this is a great series to read. I guess now we're going into more romantasy, fantasy. This one is Fearless by Lauren Roberts, which is the last book in the trilogy. I am so excited to read this, mainly because of the cliffhanger of the second book. I'm not going to say what it is, but I don't know how this series is going to end, so I'm really excited to see how it goes. It is a lot thicker than her other books. How thick is it? It's like 500 pages, which is a lot thicker, but I am so excited to read this one. Another book which I also talked about in my 2025 books to read for this year is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. Again, pink cover, foil detailing, you sold me. It's the last book in the trilogy and I am really excited to read this one. I think she's like an academic and she goes out and researches different types of fairies in that realm. There is a subplot of romance, so that is always fun. And I'm excited to see how the series ends. A book which I haven't read by this author before, but I basically picked it up because of the because of the cover, and it is pink. It's got the foil detailing. I guess there's not much to win me over in terms of like how a book looks other than it's pink. Has to have foil detailing, and if it's got like colorful spines or edges, you've sold me. This one's called A Witch's Guide to Love and Poison, and this for on the back it's got a review from Heather Fawcett from the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, so I think it's that kind of vibe. But Bisma needs some help finding a cure because her family's accidentally had some of this poison. She needs to try and save them. So Xander is an apothecary and I think they go together to try and find a cure. There's a little bit of subplot of romance between Bisma and Xander. It's not a thick book and I like how big the text is, particularly like the really long, tall books, because I just find they're so easy to read and they're very floppy. I'm really into how floppy paperbacks can be, especially when they're this height. I recently read Yellow Face by Kaung and I really enjoyed it, so I had to pick up her other books, Babel or Babel. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. It won so many awards and I just want to read more Asian authors. So this one is historical fantasy and I decided to read this one with my boyfriend. We want to start reading together, and this is one that we thought we both might like. I don't know too much other than like it's historical fantasy. I think it's like this Asian Chinese boy, and he's an orphan, and this guy adopts him. He teaches him to read. Now they're traveling to England. Oh, it's based in Oxford, 1836. Wow, that is very historical. Anyway, I don't like knowing too much about books before I read them because I kind of want to go in a bit blind and find it out for myself. So that's all I know about this one. One book that I have been wanting to read for a while is this one, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is a special edition book because you can see the sprayed edges. There's also some illustrations on the inside. Addie makes a deal, I think, with the devil because she wants to live forever. She wants to be immortal, but there is a catch to the deal that she's made, and it's that if someone turns around, they forget who she is. So it becomes a very lonely life until one boy, I think she walks into a bookshop or something, and then one guy remembers her, and then maybe she realized that she can break this curse and not be as lonely. So I think that's a really cool concept. So I'm really excited to read this one. This is a trilogy by V.E. Schwab's as well, and it's so cool. I love books that come in a box set because I always feel like they're in pristine condition because they haven't been touched. But I was mainly interested to read this series because of Katie's reading. Vicious is the first book, and Vengeful is the sequel. And it's a duology. It's about these college roommates, Victor and Eli, and they have a shared interest about near-death experiences and adrenaline rushing experiments. And in doing so, they have these supernatural abilities, but their relationship doesn't pan out well through the series. And I think there are time skips between the first and second book. Anyway, it sounds very intriguing, so I'm very excited to read this one. And a duology doesn't seem as difficult to get into. Like, I like kind of having more than one book series because you kind of get to explore the world a little bit deeper, but it's not as terrifying as having a 5 or 8 book series. A two book series seems very doable. Last year I read the Akatar series and I loved it because it was my first kind of YA fantasy romance about fairies. I was so into it. And I have been looking for a series that was kind of similar to that. But because it's YA, I wanted something a little bit more adult. And I saw this book mainly because of how cool the cover was. And it's called The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. And I've heard of her from writing the duology, I think it's called Dance of Thieves, which was super viral on BookTok a few years back. It still is something I want to read on my TBR. But I saw that this book is about fairies. It's her first adult romantasy, and I thought this is something that's totally up my alley. And I love that Stephanie Garber has done a little review at the front. Oh yes, so this one is about Bristol Keats, obviously, and her sisters struggle to stay afloat in their small, quiet town of Bowes Keep when Bristol begins to receive letters from an aunt she's never heard of, who promises to help. She discovers that everything she thought and knew about her family is a lie. Her father might even still be alive, kidnapped by terrifying creatures from another realm. That is super cool. So I just love how good this book is. And it's so weird because it only came out in November last year and I haven't really seen anyone read or talk about this. So I'm really excited. I love how beautiful the cover is. It's a hardback. It wasn't on my TBR to read this year, but now it definitely is. Those are all the books I bought recently. If you have read any of the books in this video or you have other books that you recommend that you think are really good, please let me know in the comments below. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.